Okay, so I'm back, and the camera may be a little bit too close, but this is a larger scrapbook album, and it's actually made out of 5 sheets of Deck the Halls paper. So all I did was, so the bottom sheet, if you look at the back of this, I hope you can see all of it. There's not that much out of frame, but the back of this is one sheet of designer series paper, 12 inches long, and just like 1 inch folded over. And then as far as the distance in width, it's I think it was 7 inches, 7.5 inches wide. And so I cut each paper at 7.5 inches wide, again 5 sheets of paper, and then I cut them down 1 inch at a time. So each piece is 1 inch shorter at the topmost point of the label than the other one. And then I kind of just I cut into each one to make this tab look, and I used a corner rounder to get the round corners. So I didn't have a die for this. I created them. Again, I just squared them, regular paper, square it off. I cut in about 1/2 inch and cut off the extra so that there was a straight line here and here. And then I used a corner rounder to round my tabs. So then I used 3 brads to tie the album together. So each piece of paper has the crocodile hole punched, and then the brads are in there. And I have the brads on the inside so that the back is smooth. But recently I just bought a cinch, and I fell in love with the cinch, and I don't know if I'll ever use anything else because the cinch totally rocks for binding many books. But that's another story. So inside the album, because the album was so easy to make, decorating became a lot more fun. You'll find as you get into smaller books that have less complexity that you're able to focus more on the design because it's a smaller surface and you have less to worry about. So I start this off with a little introduction to why I'm making this album. I totally think that themed albums are the best way to go. So the theme on this album is just snow. And this introductory piece I printed out on my computer on a piece of vellum. So this is just explaining that basically I was raised in snow. And when I got married and I moved to Europe, we didn't have very much snow there. And then when I got divorced and moved to California, we didn't have any snow. And then when I came here to Washington, where I live, has very little snow, although today we're full of snow. But basically, it just explains that no matter where I go, even if it doesn't have snow, I find a way to get to it. And basically in Washington, my favorite place to go is to Leavenworth to go snowmobiling. And so this book has pictures from the trip to Leavenworth around Christmas time a couple of years ago to do snow. So these are the Stampin' Up! Felt snowflakes. And I've just colored some gems. Like you can color them with markers and you just heat emboss them and they're fine. And I hand wrote with a white gel pen my journaling on many of the pages because I feel that's important. And you can't tell this, but the pictures were actually printed on canvas. So they're soft to the touch. And I used a, what do you call it, a sanding block to roughen up the edges of each photo. I don't know if you can see that, but I wanted it to look very raw. And so it's soft because of the canvas, but it's got these raw edges. And whenever I could, I used my decorative label punch. I don't know why I'm in love with that punch, to just create myself a little place to write something, As it goes through the book, you'll see the little decorative label with some statement of what was going on or what I was feeling in this photo. and a lot of these die cut snowflakes because we had made a whole bunch of them at my upline's house. I have a great upline. Well, actually, I have several uplines. I have a whole generation of uplines, but Michelle Nicholson is like the most amazing woman you can ever have for your upline, and I just want to be an upline just like her. Anyway, this is like this, and a lot of the creativity that I put into my Stampin' Up work comes from things that I learned from my original upline, who is Beth Anderson, and she's now moved away, and I cried a whole lot, but fortunately she left Michelle in charge of me, so I'm doing fine. So anyway, each page basically has some of those canvas printouts and some journaling, just kind of sharing the fun of the trip to Leavenworth for snowmobiling. And whenever I could use the punches to help, I did. So this was another easy project. I won't say this took 30 minutes because printing the photos took me a while for some reason, but I will say this is under 2 hours as a project. It should have been less, but I spent too much time with the printing of the photos. If I had printed them on regular photo paper, this would have been easily an hour project. So another example of why scrapbooking doesn't have to be complicated, and by making it easy, you can get the pictures to the people that want to see them and get them out of your computer. So thanks for looking at that one. I have another one. I have another two to show you, so come back again. Thank you.